Okay, I watched this parade that Donald Trump did, and I'm no fan of Donald Trump. I think he's a dingbat, and he never served in the military when he should have. But I watched this thing, and PBS did the whole thing, showed the whole thing on there, and it's not what I expected. It wasn't something that I thought was really, showing off nuclear tipped missiles or some silly thing like that. It was mostly just tanks and a lot of older stuff. And so watch this, and I'll kind of narrate while we're going through here. And I don't know, I thought it was kind of cool. Maybe you'd think it was cool too. Watch the thing on PBS. And I'm trying to take politics out of this thing for this one, but I think it's kind of cool. So watch this. I wanted to look at this parade that Donald Trump had put on. It's kind of interesting because it isn't anything like I thought it was going to be. And a lot of people said all these really horrible things about it and so on like that. And actually, I kind of like the silly thing. They started out, with some Revolutionary War stuff with drum and fife or whatever it is. And I just thought it was kind of neat that, they're just going over the history of the U.S. Army. And then they go into the Civil War and, period costumes and all that sort of stuff. And then here it comes a picture of Donald Trump kind of grumbling and smiling and doing whatever. There's various shots of him throughout this whole thing. And there's a crowd, and everybody said, oh, the crowd is so small, the crowd is so small. I don't know if it was big or small. You can't tell by any of these things. But it doesn't, I don't think that's important. Let's just not beat ourselves up on that. Now, this is kind of cool because this is World War I, and that's a 1918 Dodge. And I'm not sure why it was there, but it was there, and I just thought it was kind of cool. And they're going over the First World War with some period costumes again. I don't know if these are GIs and these things or not, but it's just kind of cool because it's kind of celebrating what we did in World War I. And here comes, this is the next one. It's kind of interesting. That's a Sherman tank from World War II. It was an interesting tank. I kind of studied those things a bit. The one in the front is made, the chassis is made with plates, and the one in the back actually had a cast chassis on it. So it was just interesting. They're still running, when they're going. So, okay. They're doing a little bit of World War II. I don't see any nuclear tipped missiles or anything. Yeah. And now we're showing some GIs. That is Korean War. And, there again, period costume sort of stuff. And here's a look at some of the crowds and, people make America great again. Of course, you got to have those ding-dongs there. There's just a whole bunch of people watching this silly thing. And I thought, well, it's kind of neat. It's okay. Now, the next one is kind of interesting to me because I drove one of those things in Korea. So that was, I won't say it's nostalgic because the time of the military was not all that much fun to me, but military and me did not get along real well. But it was just kind of interesting to see that. And coming up here, we're going to see something that really kind of threw the day in a cocked hat. Okay, we're showing helicopters. Well, look at the fog or whatever it is. God, you can't hardly see some of these. Watch a few of these helicopters. This is for Vietnam, but some of them you can't hardly even see. So that was, kind of a disappointment. It's too bad, but there you see these things flying around. You can't hardly see what's going on there. But yeah, that was not the best day, especially for aircraft. And that is the Vietnam era with the M16s and the standard old uniforms. That was the one I wore. So, and here we got Trump. He salutes. He saluted several. Actually, it's a pretty good salute. It's actually a real one. I don't know if it means anything because I kind of look at him, that Bone Spur kid, that didn't go when he should have. But he's great on talking about it now. And there's more shots of the crowd. Again, you can't tell how many people are there, and I don't care either. It doesn't make any difference to me. And here I put these kids back on there because I thought they were kind of cool, just to watch these kids cheering and stuff. Okay, here we come. Self-propelled howitzer, M1 tank, Humvees. There were a whole bunch of these things. And one thing I wanted to mention here, they said, well, it's going to damage the roads. I don't know if it's going to damage the roads or not. I really don't know. But maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. But I do know tracked vehicles and these multi-wheeled vehicles put a lot less pressure per square inch than, say, an 80,000-pound Class 8 truck. So I think that was maybe a bit overblown. One thing I probably will gripe about is all the prep that these guys had to go through. When I was in the military, we went through 5 major inspections and about 20 preparatory inspections. And the prep was just incredible. How much crap you had to go through to make these tanks look good and make all the vehicles look good and do what they're supposed to do and all that. Maybe the guys were fine with it. I have no idea. We had a lot of smiley guys and stuff in there in the vehicles, but I would not have wanted to do the prep for something like this. It was just kind of out of hand as far as I was concerned. Well, and here we come with some dune buggies. There's some of these guys running around in, fancy little dune buggy things that I think are kind of cool. And of course, they got their little goggle things and, fancy guns and stuff like that. That's stuff you should probably display if you want to. Here's some more, fancy stuff, tanks and so on like that. One of the things that wasn't here, nuclear weapons, missiles, all this kind of stuff you see like in North Korea or something. We didn't have anything like that. And that's one of the reasons I kind of like this thing, is because it wasn't so full of these goofball, terrible missiles and stuff. Now, here, they're showing some drones and stuff, I'm sure they got cool drones. There's another one coming up that's kind of interesting. It looks like a dog. It's kind of cool. Yeah, there's the dog. And I think he's going about the fastest he can go right now. It said it goes like 2 miles an hour. Well, I think they're going a little faster than that, and they're trying to get it up to 6 miles an hour. But it's just kind of cool. One of them's got a flag on it and stuff. But I thought that was kind of cool. And this is interesting. They never said a word about this thing. That is a drone tank. And you can see the LiDAR sensor right there towards the front that's kind of blinking. Oh, cool tank. Okay, let me know what you think about this thing. I thought it was kind of cool. What do you think? And that's it on this one.